All right, this problem, the first thing I look at is there a greatest common factor? In this problem, there is not. So I notice that there's 4 terms, so that automatically tells me this is going to be a grouping problem. So I'm going to put parentheses around the first 2 and the last 2. And I notice that my third term is negative, so I'm including that negative in the parentheses and I'm adding a plus sign in between. All right, so now we're going to factor out the greatest common factor of each. The first group, the greatest common factor, is 5x squared. And then my leftovers would be 8x plus 7. From my second group, because I have this negative here that's in front, I have to factor out a negative number. Between 32 and 28, the greatest common factor is 4. So I'm going to take out a negative 4. I don't need to take out any x's. And then left over, I would have the opposite signs left over. So negative 32x divided by negative 4 would be positive 8x. And then negative 28 divided by negative 4 would be positive 7. So everything switches, all the signs in the second set of parentheses. So now I have my 2 sets of parentheses that I'm going to be left with. So I have my matching group here. So that is half of my factored solution. And then I also have the things that I factored out, and that's going to be my second set. So 5x squared minus 4. Okay, so now I'm going to be setting each of these equal to 0. So I have 8x plus 7 equals 0. And then I also have 5x squared minus 4 equals 0. So the purple one is going to give me one solution because the exponent on x is 1. So I'm going to be subtracting 7 from both sides. That would give me 8x equals negative 7. And then divide both sides by 8. So my solution here would be x equals negative 7 over 8. So that's one of my 3 solutions. Now this pink one over here, it's quadratic, meaning it's going to give me 2 solutions. However, because it's missing the b term or the middle term, I can use square roots to solve this. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the x squared by itself. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides, leaving me with 5x squared equals 4. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So I would have x squared equals 4 over 5. Now at this point I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And when I do that, I have to make sure that I remember to do plus or minus on the right side with the number. So that leaves me with x equals plus or minus. The square root of 4 is 2, and then it's going to have the square root of 5 on the bottom. Now this problem has one extra bonus step because it is not acceptable in math to leave a radical in the denominator. So the next, or then the last thing we're going to do to find our final solution here is rationalize the denominator. So what I need to do to rationalize the denominator is multiply the denominator by itself. And I don't want to change the number, so I have to multiply by the square root of 5 over the square root of 5. So my final answer here is going to be x equals plus or minus. If I multiply 2 times the square root of 5, it's just 2 square root 5. And then the square root of 5 times itself is the square root of 25, which is just 5. So this right here would be my other final answer, and that represents 2 answers, and the purple one represented 1 answer, so that's my total of 3.